Hello and welcome to Telling Tales. We run atmospheric tabletop role-playing systems live here on Twitch. You can also find us on YouTube with links down below. That's also where you can find access to our Discord, social media, and Patreon. We run weekly tabletop role-playing series, including Vason on Mondays and this on typically Thursdays, with Simbarum coming back in August. If you like what we do, come and check us out. We're really good. So without further ado, I can just see the players reacting with amusement to my incredible and professional way of announcing this. So without further ado, let's bring on... Actually, let's start with just a bit of a description of this system that we're going to be running for this limited series. This is The Big Wet. One day, it started raining, and it never completely stopped. Now the world is flooded, and all that are left are the scavengers of a once dry world. So, through the hazy fog and drizzle, a small boat with 4 souls aboard emerges. They travel at a steady pace along the flooded streets. Let's bring on the first of our sorry individuals hunkered down against the rain. It's Chris. Hello, Chris.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm dry. Thanks for asking.
Very good. I mean, you're slowly getting wetter. It is drizzling. So where is Fredo on this boat? It's a small rowboat, although large enough for 4 people and their equipment.
Fredo's got kind of Fredo's lungs score is the worst, so he's probably tried to row for a bit of the journey, but has maybe been pushed out of the way by one of his burlier compatriots. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what's Fredo like? What does he look like?
So Fredo looks a very slight and small man of kind of indeterminate age. Looks perpetually a little bit beat up for reasons that aren't very clear. He's not an ineffable man. He doesn't get into fights. He's just always running a little bit close to some kind of clumsiness or doing some work that's maybe a little bit harsh on the hands and arms. So despite being kind of a thin and kind of small and slight person, he does look quite sorry, I suppose, in a way.
And yet he has earned the trust of his compatriots. Like this small package of a man seems to have something to him that maybe is the spark of cunning or something like it. And that is why about 2 weeks ago, you were approached by a person who you're very familiar with, Frankie. She's from your parent crew. You're kind of a splinter group off of the main larger scavenging group. It's not entirely hierarchical, but there is a certain element of it. And Frankie is definitely on the higher end of things. And she came to you in what is the place that you tend to rest, your home, I guess, or at least what is currently your home. You move about quite regularly. And she knocks on your door.
Yeah, come in.
Fredo.
Frankie, you've got business on your face.
Yeah, what can I say? I'm an easy book to read. I don't know if you heard about the other crew, but it didn't go so well. And now, as much as it pains me, I'm going to have to turn to you. I know you know a few people who could potentially pull off something like this.
You're going to want me to try and steal something, aren't you?
I mean, it's what I keep you around for. You note that there's like humor in her eyes, but she's not entirely joking.
Okay. I suppose I've spent too long futzing around with the wind turbines. What's the job?
So this is a time-sensitive job. As I've already said, the previous crew didn't have it cut out. There's been word from sources I trust that they've discovered there's a helicopter at the top of Lustrum Tower, and a very wealthy individual is willing to pay 10,000 bullets if anyone can retrieve that helicopter. Now, there's a little bit of a hitch, which is they haven't come to us specifically. This is an open contract. The word is out and it's been spreading. So you're not going to be the only scavengers looking to get this. There's one other hitch.
Oh my God, Frankie.
Look. You're a creative fellow, Fredo. You've pulled off similarly adventurous heists.
Sure, in drier times. Come on, what's the second hitch? You're already over my daily hitch allowance.
Well, the second hitch is that Lustrum Tower is mostly submerged, and I have good intel that the ignition key is in a vault in a sub-basement. So,
hell of a hitch.
Yeah, you're going to have to get wet. I don't suppose you have a wetsuit, scuba diving equipment?
I'm not a diver, Frankie, but I know one or two.
Well, that would be advisable if you could get something like that together. Let's pull this off nice and clean and quick. I don't want a repeat of that aquarium fiasco.
Fredo's kind of already hauling himself off the bed.
Right, I'll leave you to it. And with that, we come back to the boat. Fredo is clearly thinking about something as he goes along. Definitely not assisting with the rowing at this point. And we'll bring on our second player, Matt.
Hello.
Hello, Matt. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you, Pierre.
Well, tell us a little bit about the character you'll be playing today, Isaac.
Yeah, I will be playing Isaac, as Pierre just said. Isaac, in a former life when things were all a bit drier, was an emergency medical technician. And he mostly keeps to himself. He's tall, he's gaunt, he's quiet. He's rarely seen without sort of zipped up, kind of slicker raincoat. All of his rain gear is like black, and given his like tallness and his gauntness and the fact that he's a medical practitioner, that he has perhaps obvious nicknames, but it also links somewhat to the fact that he's known for his medical expertise, but also for the speed with which he will resort to intimidation or lethal and unnervingly calm violence if necessary. It's unclear whether he's always been this way or whether the big wet has made him so clinically merciless. In a lot of games I play, I like the idea of people want a comparison point of like, I often pick actors to like match my character in my head. And for this one, partly as my own little tribute, but also because he fit the role very well, I am thinking of the late lamented Lance Reddick in my head, for anyone who is aware of his work.
And what will you be doing on this boat as it rows towards Lustrum Tower?
Well, Isaac has actually quite a good lungs score, so he will gladly have taken up the slack if Fredo needs a moment to,
recuperate,
catch his breath. Yeah, Isaac is a pretty kind of merciless sort, and he's not very friendly at all. But he's also very much a team player, and he's an EMT, so he will, if he sees that someone is struggling to row, he's not gonna, he will brusquely tell him to get off the oar and start rowing himself. So.
Okay, and then we will have another flashback. This time to you, Isaac, just basically sitting on like a stoop as you see a man from another scavenger team. You know his name is Jacob. He's sort of walking perfectly fine, but he's kind of like clutching his side a little bit and like wincing and like needing it. And he is heading towards you. What do you do?
Okay, are we all like you say another scavenger group, but are we part of the same
it's
clan,
yes.
shall we say, for want of a better word?
It's part of the sort of loose parent organization,
like the little mini post-apocalyptic society we have.
That you've established. So... he is a friendly. He's not a.
Okay.
He's somebody you've perhaps competed with on jobs before, but not like. Not a person that you've thought about stabbing.
Sure, yeah. Well then, what I will do is I will stand up from the stoop where I've probably been, just sort of sitting, staring rather vacantly out at the rain, and I will walk over to. Is there any kind of like flat surface nearby?
There's like a. Depends if. I suppose there's like a bit of concrete. That's like. Kind
like
of
a higher part of the road or something like that where so in my head it's like maybe like a road on a slightly higher part of the city, right?
Because most of the city is submerged, but there is
submerged, absolutely.
There's like an archipelago kind of where there once were hills. There are now
that's mostly picked completely clean, but like people have to live somewhere, right? So I basically will walk over and kind of intercept him. As he's coming towards me, I will meet him at this point where this concrete slab is this raised section of like pavement, where once skaters ground off and did tricks off regularly, but now it's just barren like everything else. And I will literally grab him physically, not to force him, but quite firmly push him onto this flat surface.
And then he'll be like,
to lie down.
Initially be sort of taken aback, but then he'll like acquiesce very quickly because, it becomes clear why. He goes, "Hey, could you look? I don't have much, but could you just let me know if it's bad, if it's real bad?" And he sort of.
I will. I don't really respond to this. I just start. Do I need to strip off some clothing off him?
He can lift up like his. He lifts up like he removes one of the layers of waterproofing and then like lifts up the part of his shirt that allows you to see. It to your initial estimation, without like on first glance, it looks like it's pretty badly bruised. On the rib area, and there's maybe some like cuts or abrasions there that you can see. It would be painful what he has, as far as you can tell.
What hit you?
I mean, I guess the bottom of the stairs. after those security threw me down them.
What were the stairs made of?
Like concrete, I guess. Like
Concrete is good. Can I do a roll?
yes, this can be our first roll of the session, and I think this would be brain, because I assume
Like
you're
the analysis of his.
yeah.
I think so.
Assuming that's what you're doing.
Yeah. I am kind of like trying to tell how badly hurt he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, shall I explain the system, or shall you?
Yeah, I mean, basically the system is a D100, so you roll 2d10s or a D100 and a D10, and you have a stat that is a number, and you have to roll under that stat, but over what is your wet score, and your wet score is like how physically wet you are, and also how like emotionally drained you are. It's a representation of the way that the world weighs on people in the post-apocalypse.
Yeah. And currently, correct me if I'm wrong, I am wet 0, so I don't need to worry about
because
that.
you have come from you are in your home and you have spent hours to dry off.
Walked out from the like the old stone building that it's not where I used to live. Let me make that clear. It's much nicer than where I used to live. In a way, the outside is much nicer. Okay, so my for everyone's awareness, if I'm rolling against brain, my brain is 40. Stats are pretty low in this. But because I will get, because my history is medicine and then specifically EMT, if stuff is related to medicine, I will get a +10 to the roll, and if it's related to EMT, I will get +20. And I would definitely say that examining someone who's been hurt is an EMT thing. So I'm rolling against a 60, and I don't need to worry about wet unless do we know if a 0/0 is a 0 or 100 in this?
I am not sure.
It very remotely matters, but like,
we'll see if it happens.
Yeah. Well, I rolled a 6. So
okay, so that's a success.
Yeah.
Good thing that nothing was weighing on you. But so you can see, like, you suspect it's not like, if there's a break, it would be a very like not a substantial one. You think that this is mainly superficial, quite severe but superficial damage. The main concerns to you would be the cuts, but as you say, like the fact that he landed on concrete rather than like metal or anything that could give you tetanus. I mean, there's still an infection risk. So like, that's probably the thing that you would say is the most worrying, even if it's not. But it's not super worrying. You think he'll be okay so long as he maybe gets some antiseptic or some treatment. And possibly some of these, like maybe a stitch or something or some bandage or something to compress the thing.
Well, I say to him, it's not bad. If you have antiseptic, use that. Try to bandage it, something clean and dry. My advice, I wouldn't waste painkillers.
You can sort of see the relief kind of wash over his face as he realizes, like, because to break a bone or to have something serious happen that'll take a long time to recover from in this world is much more serious than it is in ours. People get lost all the time to that kind of thing. And he goes, thanks. That oh man, those security up at Lustrum Tower, like, absolutely, they run a tight ship. Hey, I heard you're the next being sent into the meat grinder.
I'm just staring at him.
Well, Anyway, do you happen to have any antiseptic on you?
I have a very limited supply, and you already owe me.
Okay, fair enough. I'll give you this one for free. Look, I heard something. I tried to get in to Lustrum Tower, but they're on heightened lookout for scavengers. I managed to get into the lower levels before they found me and, yeah, kicked me out. They weren't immediately violent, but they weren't happy to see that I was a scavenger. But I did hear a rumor from one of the civilians, not one of the members of the gangs. They were saying that there's this vault. I think it's the vault that has the ignition key. And they say that the codes, there's a rumor that the code to that vault is in one of the penthouses. Now, obviously, it's a rumor, take it or leave it, but look, you're starting to creep me out, man. Thanks for the help, but I've really got to be going.
Wasn't for free. I was paying.
Well, I mean,
It's good enough. Get out of here.
Okay. He leaves, sort of thankful that you didn't pursue further payment. And now we will cut back to the boat. And we will bring on our fourth player, who is Sam.
I'm fourth. Wow, that's impressive of me.
I'm the first player. You guys are all second and third.
Of course.
Collaborative storytelling.
Of course.
Did you tweak your mic, Sam?
Has it gone back and bad again?
It sounds like it.
He's in a room that's filling with water steadily, and like the echoes are going off the wall. It's
no, my mic is still my good mic. If it might just be the echo being.
It's calmed down now. It's found itself now. That's
it might be audio.
It just some people's mics just take a bit of time on stream.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about your character, Sam Zhao.
Yeah, so Alice Zhao, she is a short, kind of quite muscular, stout woman of Asian heritage. She's I imagine she's probably still fairly young, maybe like early 30s or something. She's if we're on the rowing boat, she's 100% rowing, and she's probably making small comments at the other person rowing, telling them to like adjust off and just keep the boat level and not too hard, quieten up and all that sort of thing in a slightly irritating way.
Well, if two people, I mean, there's four of us, ergo, if four people aren't rowing, two people are rowing, because otherwise we would be going around in a circle. Isaac is the other person rowing, as established. He will absolutely follow everything Zhao says to the left.
In that case, she's not snappy about it. But she still looks impatient and frustrated, because that's just her perpetual kind of expression. Can't rely on anyone but me is a classic thing I hear her saying. She's wearing old stained fishing overalls that were probably yellow a long time ago, and her waterproofs over that. She's also wearing a kind of dark, well, it would have been dark green long ago, beanie on her head, which you never see her without it. I feel like it's probably kind of bleached by the kind of slightly radioactive rain that's always pouring on it, though, so it's not dark green anymore. She's an ex-fisherman, so she used to work on commercial ocean fishing in the dry times, and this is her little rowing boat.
Okay, and we will cut to Alice, along with a friend, Samantha, say friend, on this very rowing boat. earlier in the week, after the storms had kind of passed by and the weather looked like it might be improving for just a little bit, which, by the way, just means that it's raining 11 hours out of the 24 rather than 24 out of the 24. Alice had taken you to within a kilometer or so of Lustrum Tower to scout out the location. She is pretending to fish. You are possibly actually fishing, I'm not sure. She passes you the binoculars.
I'm presuming fishing is something that's still perfectly viable in this world. I will definitely
absolutely
fishing.
In fact, there has been somewhat of a resurgence in marine life in general with the world. I mean, even the radioactivity doesn't seem to have totally inhibited the aquafauna. I don't know.
Aquatic life. There you go.
The aquatic life, yes, that is the word.
We're not getting three-eyed fish up all the time or anything. Okay, got it.
No. But you are eating the ones that you are grateful to receive.
Yeah. So I will probably be slightly frustrated to have to stop fishing, but acknowledge that that's not why we're here. And yeah, check out maybe just small nod to Samantha. Presumably Samantha's been guiding here and helping out with this. So yeah, and then I'll look through the binoculars at the tower, and then probably just say what we're looking for.
Samantha she'll actually point out some of the features that she's observed. So I counted it earlier. It's about 70 floors above the water. Each floor, I guess, about 3 meters in height. So 150 meters or so. It's 50 floors above the water. Each one 3 meters in height. I did not just do that math wrong. I just said which part was above the water incorrectly. And she's like, look, at the bottom, there's like a market. Can you see? Can you roll brains, please, for me?
Sure, I can. So my brain score is 44. Am I wet at all at this point?
Nope. Well, actually, yeah. You'd be like 3 wet, I think, at this point.
3.
Because the journey was not through particularly arduous terrain.
I rolled at 93, so I fail.
You failed? Okay, fair enough. So you'll just get an overview. So so you can't see a helicopter or a helipad at the top. You can see that there are a bunch of like it's like it's walled in for privacy or something. And it looks like there's like a layer of fences and then a layer of walls. So potentially that might be relevant. There's clearly gates between these things. The top penthouses are just like one floor that is one solid would have been luxury apartments, but now all the windows are like blown out and it looks pretty pretty dire in the penthouses. Then there's the next section is a 5-star hotel, which looks like a war zone as far as you can tell. Then below that, there are there's the corporate offices, which are like boarded up and you failed your roll. You don't notice anything particularly weird about the offices, apart from maybe occasionally you see a person walking along like past one of the gaps in the wall, patrolling. Maybe you see the glint of a gun or some kind.
Okay. That's probably not surprising to me. So
yeah. And it also wouldn't surprise you if they were watching the waters for boats. That's the sort of thing that like they look like they could be doing.
Gotcha.
Does
these structures you're talking about being built, like the walls and the fences and things, is some of that being built since it's like more recent? It's since after the dry times, or is it all just repurposed?
As in the offices themselves?
Well, I mean, no. You said there were like some walls and fences and things up there. That sounded a bit different.
At the top, it looks relatively untouched.
Okay.
It looks like people just haven't gone there particularly. Maybe because it's really difficult to get there. Maybe for some other reason. It doesn't look like they've built it around there. It looks like it was an original security feature potentially for the ultra rich. This hotel in general looks like it's pretty expensive. And then right at the bottom there, it's like that place looks like it's got a lot of new builds. Like there are like mini docks that have been set up. Because this would have been like floor 21 of the original hotel. So everything's kind of improvised. Looks like there might have been like there's like a marketplace. There's it's a lot more activity is going on in the bottom floors. And
I will maybe turn to Samantha and just kind of ask, because I think I probably don't know very much, if anything, about the tower, and just say, is that those markets and everything, can any old person just show up, or is it all shut down now with activity around here?
Previously, yes, but they seem to have tightened up security recently.
With all this news,
Yeah, they tend to be a lot more friendly to locals. I've sold fish there previously, and I imagine the markets are still open, but
be careful if you go that way. Gotcha.
Yeah, they don't look kindly to people. They look kindly on people looking to trade, but not on people looking to steal.
Yeah,
which is fair enough.
Not on those racing to the top. Well, it's always racing to the top, isn't it?
And the gangs have control. The fire hose gang is what they're called. They keep the people down and they keep the exiles up. Yeah. Anyway, I took you out here. I showed you the tower.
Yeah, you did.
You owe me your next catch.
I'll get out this absolute wrecked tiddler from the boat. I just caught.
Brilliant.
I'll throw it over my shoulder in a laugh, and then we'll go back.
Okay. Oh yeah, I suppose I should say the other thing is this is a skyscraper district. So there are other skyscrapers nearby, maybe within 20 meters or so of the actual main skyscraper.
Okay, that's good to know.
But yes, we will cut back to that rowboat.
Wait, sorry. While you're saying, are there others? Is it the tallest, or are there others?
It is definitely the tallest. There aren't others that are anywhere near as tall.
That's good to
know. There
know.
might have been ones, but they're totally ruined. There are a lot of ruined. This is the most functional looking skyscraper.
Some have collapsed, sort of thing.
Yeah.
As the foundations just turned to fucking slurry.
Yeah. As far as you can see, there aren't super livable other skyscrapers nearby, and that's why this one has been chosen as a hub.
And there's nowhere high enough to get a view on it as well. Got it.
Not unless you wanted to get a lot closer. No.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. We're back.
And now we will cut back to the rowboat, where we will introduce our fourth player, I guess, or fifth player if you count me. It's Jack.
Hiya.
Jack.
So
tell us a little bit about your character.
Well, he's called Hank. He's a former school custodian / handyman, sort of weathered face with a grey beard, and sort of generally unkempt. But it is the apocalypse, so you can sort of let him off. But he's also generally as friendly and as approachable as you can be in a sort of damp apocalypse like this. And he's sort of never without his hip flask, which might be why he's a bit friendlier. And he's always got a sort of rolled up, smoking a rolled up cigarette. when he can find the tobacco. Yeah, and in terms of what he's probably doing on the rowboat, if people are rowing, he's probably sitting back, eating a can of beans cold out of the tin. Because again, it's the apocalypse, and that's how people eat. And he's probably in generally good spirits, maybe humming a little tune as he eats.
He's probably like the heart of the team.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, things are probably looking up as much as they can. I think it's just drizzly at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely not anywhere near to stop. Like, this is the lightest level of rain.
Yeah, the equivalent of a sunny day.
Yeah,
much
pretty
as
much.
One could be now. Yeah.
Yeah, it was slightly nicer yesterday, and the fog is like hazy today, whereas yesterday it was like actually clear for once. But it's not totally white out, and yeah, the wind isn't like destroying you. Do any of you have any like Geiger counters, by the way, or anything that could measure radiation? Okay, well, don't worry about the
Yeah, I do. I do.
Oh, good.
Okay. Okay. It's a medium level of like clicks are coming from the Geiger counter, which is not like a super worrying amount. Based on your new baseline of how crackly the world is.
Yeah, like I'm just assuming straight up that like all of us are like living in this world are basically resigned to the fact we're gonna die of cancer at some point. So like, I
mean,
a mild level of but a mild level of radiation everywhere is probably
if you make it to cancer, you've done pretty well.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah. And there's also a thing which is storms are particularly bad for radiation. So just throwing that out there. You don't want to be caught outside in a storm.
Yeah, presumably because it stirs up all the sediment at the bottom of the water.
Yeah. And these are bigger storms than we're used to. So yes. So yeah, Hank, we will again once more cut back to. I think you'll probably be emerging from. I don't know, maybe a place where you communally eat, and you're gonna, maybe your cigarette in hand, like going to light up outside. When you see someone you don't recognize, the rain is like heavier than it is on the boat. It's like actually starting to pick up quite a bit. And the man is he's just standing there, back away from you, kind of like maybe shivering a little bit.
I'll sort of gesture with a cigarette and ask him if he's got a light. Hank has a lighter or a way of lighting cigarettes, but it's just a way of sort of approaching
he like sort of, his head kind of jerks towards you, not in like a violent, well, it jerks kind of suddenly towards you, not in a necessarily like it strikes you as like a dog that's been bit or that wasn't expecting somebody, but not an aggressive move. And then he sort of smiles. I don't have a light, no. Do you have a cigarette I can have?
It's my I've not got many left, but I'll choose you. And then Hank will pull his lighter out of his pocket, or his matches, I guess. I don't know what we use, but yeah. And he'll light his cigarette and sort of start smoking it. Sort of, he'll ask, so, what's your name, friend?
The man like approaches you and comes out of the rain, which was like, would have been really like cold, and he was shivering, and he'll sort of gladly take his cigarette. My name's Joe. I'm not from around here. I should go back.
Well, what brings you around here, Joe?
I'm a coward. I saw a way out. I was I just took the way out I saw, and in Lustrum Tower they've got a system. I was an exile. There's no way out apart from through the gangs. But I left my brother in there. And I don't know if there's much point to this. And he sort of just gestures like generally around, and he hands you back the cigarette.
Well, coward's not always the worst way to be. You tend to live longer, but leaving a brother behind that's not much of a way to be either.
No, it's not. But if you knew Rosaria, you'd understand. She's the leader of the fire hose gang. They control the tower. They control the bullets. They control everything. And she is vicious, man. I only got out through sheer luck.
If she's that vicious, how did you get out?
I sold someone out I shouldn't have sold out.
Seems you've got a heavy conscience.
Yeah, man. But thanks for the cigarette. And he walks into the like heavy rain again, like no hood, no thing, just trudges off. And on that cheery note, we'll return back to the the rowboat. So now I'd just like you guys to perhaps discuss the way in which you planned to go about this kind of thing, and what your understanding of the situation is, just to make sure everyone's on the same page.
It might actually be worth, this is, and Isaac will propose this in character as well, in a very taciturn way, like all of us quickly summarizing the different things we learned from that.
Yeah,
especially for those of us who may or may not have been in stream chat for some of it. So shall we do it in order of?
I mean, you can, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay,
Chris,
so so the mark is a helicopter at the top of the tower. The keys for the helicopter are probably at the bottom of the tower, underwater.
In a vault.
In a vault. But either well, the guy who came to me said that either the vault or an alternate way to get the keys was in a penthouse, which is presumably at the top of the tower.
Yep.
So that's either conflicting information, or the rumor told to me is complete bullshit, or
we're gonna have to.
There's some other way of getting like another set of keys, or I don't know, or no, you said the code to the vault.
Yes, the code to the vault.
That was it.
Is in one of the penthouses, one of the 10 penthouses.
We kind of got to go at the top, and then all the way at the bottom, and then all the way at the top again, because presumably the helicopter is on the roof.
Look, we have it. One of us here has these, and out of Hank's bag is his dry bag. He pulls some two-way radios. So, presuming the batteries hold, which they should, and they're within range.
Presumably, we don't get a storm.
Yeah, we're relying on luck with a lot of it, but it might be a lot easier than going all the way to the bottom, and all the
I
way to the
hate
top,
to
then back
be-
through, then back up.
Range might be lower through
I
all the
really
concrete and
hate to be
steel.
that guy, but Isaac's right. There's no way a little handheld's going to make it through a whole
It's
skyscraper.
150 meters up, having had a look, 50 stories ish. I don't know how far that penthouse is up, though. It might only be halfway, but we'll have to see.
It might make it through some number of floors.
And they're not friendly now, with all those scavengers showing up, trying to get this damn helicopter. We might be able to land if we can persuade them we're just there to sell, but got to be careful about it.
From what I hear, what was her name? Rosaria. Rosaria, that's the one. They're a real nasty piece of work, so we might do best just to avoid as much contact as we can.
But they control the upper section, right? Anywhere beyond that market.
They control the corporate offices, which is one layer above the apartments. So the apartments are where the market is, that kind of, and the docks, that kind of is where all the trading happens. The civilians are. There's the corporate offices, which are kind of boarded up and seem to have some soldiers patrolling, and that's where Rosaria's gang, the Firehose gang, exists. And then there's like a bombed out no man's land where no one lives, as far as you can tell. And then there's the penthouses, which is where exiles are sent, basically. And yes, they're like luxury, but there's nothing there. There's nothing left. Picked clean, as Matt previously put it.
And all we know about the vault is it's down.
Yeah, it's believed to be on one of these sub-levels, which is
so quite deep underwater then.
Yes,
presumably.
Quite deep underwater.
Because I'm assuming the water comes up some way up the skyscraper itself. So the
Yeah.
sub-level.
Yeah.
Right.
From looking at the apartments, or some way up that building. Don't know how far down.
Yeah.
If there's a sub-level and it's in use, the inhabitants must have a way they get down.
You reckon we don't need to get diving kit before we get there?
I doubt they dive down there.
See what
unless they don't use it often.
But that doesn't mean we can get access.
I mean, to be fair, it may well be that it's just unoccupiable. It is quite a depth.
Yeah, we have no indication that they have anything to do with this helicopter. It's just there.
In fact, that could also explain why it's left.
I mean, I'm sure Isaac would have asked this question before getting on the rowboat to go there, but can any of us fly a helicopter?
I don't think I can.
Are we going to roll a d4 to know which one of us?
One of us has to, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't be set off. Like, I was thinking about this earlier, and I have a proposition. That everyone who has like a profession that even vaguely might have a chance that at one point they were trained in the use of a helicopter rolls against their brains. And anyone who succeeds can fly the helicopter. Although, having said that, I think that's me. And no one else.
I don't think I have any reason. What is the implication with this job that we're going to get the helicopter somewhere? There must be some indication.
Yes, to deliver the helicopter.
I'm happy if everyone else is to slightly tweak Hank's background of maybe he was in the Air Force and flew helicopters then. And that's the only way that skill we say can be relevant.
Sure. I'm also happy for you to be like an enthusiast with
Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Helicopter. Yeah, exactly. if you want to have zero experience,
I've done this 100 times before in Microsoft Flight.
How many drops have you done?
Yeah.
I think before we
happy with that.
Before we head off as well, Zhao will also just say, and we need to think about diving equipment. I don't know if any of you have anything, but I'm not arriving there without an option for getting down, assuming we can figure out when we show up. that's not a good idea.
Do you have anything of value that can be left as collateral? Because Frankie would have lent you stuff in exchange for
Oh, I see
some
what you
of your
mean.
goods.
With the assumption we'll get it back.
Yeah, like she's not fully willing to completely trust you with.
Yeah.
She only has 2 wetsuits,
Yeah.
2 sets of scuba kit, but
And how much are they worth?
it's not so much that they're worth, like you wouldn't get the
Something
trading
valuable.
value of them. It's more like she just wants something in case you don't come back.
I'd be
if
willing
you're
to
insisting
leave.
on.
I'd be willing to leave my Geiger counter and gas mask for one of them, or maybe just one of those things.
I wouldn't leave the Geiger counter.
Fine, I'll leave the gas mask if that's worth anything.
Okay, sure.
I mean, it like. Does she want something from each of us? Like, is it like? I
I
surely
think she
a
wants
gas
something.
mask isn't enough collateral. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think she wants a little bit more.
I will leave her with 1 dose of morphine. For
Okay.
context, that's worth 100 bullets.
I was going to say
pretty
that's
good.
got to be.
Yeah, that's pretty valuable. Okay. Yep. So you can have 2 wetsuit, like scuba diving kits, which is like wetsuit, some tanks that are mostly full.
Cool.
There is also a chance that like there might be some at the tower. Given that because underwater is less available, it actually might not have been picked clean as much as the rest of the tower. So
should we put that on our inventory map? You have one, I have the other. If we left those 2 bits of kit, just to make sure we've got them.
Sure.
Is that just 1 slot for a full scuba kit, or is that multiple slots?
Oh, it's got to be more than 1.
Yeah.
Let's go for like mask tanks as being separate items.
Weirdly, the
scuba
item
mask is a 1 line already.
Yeah, scuba
Weirdly-
tanks and wetsuit.
Weirdly, there isn't a. Of course, it'll be called a dry suit, not a wetsuit, won't it? Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
The dry suit is 2. The scuba mask is 1. And is that like an air tank thing?
Oxygen tank is
Oxygen tank. Okay.
1 hour of air.
So that's 4 in total.
Yeah.
But they
Now
take up.
significantly less slots available. Well, I can remove my gas masks.
Yeah, if you have it on you, you can leave them in there.
Yeah, true.
Yes. So, am I understanding the plan correctly that the idea is you attempt to disguise the fact that you're scavengers, seem like you're coming along to sell fish or something else,
And then have a look around.
thus bypassing the thing, and then having a look around and maybe trying to then sneak past the various.
I think Zhao will recommend at least getting onto the market and then seeing what we can make of it from there, having a look around, seeing what security seems like. That would be my recommendation.
Okay.
And having a bit of something to seem like we're selling or something.
Well, I can imagine that in a post-apocalyptic landscape, what you're selling might be me, like my expertise.
Yeah, I will happily take that from Isaac as an idea.
Yeah.
In pre-industrial societies,
Mm-hmm.
people with some medical knowledge often
Traveled.
went on tour essentially to different places to make money. So
Okay.
The rest of the group.
That's
happy with
not. Yeah, that's not. No need to rush it. We don't have to do this all in one trip. Do not ever underestimate the value of casing the joint.
that? Mhm. Yeah, but bear in mind, with all the scavengers showing up, it might lock down if we wait any longer. If we show up and then leave, and then they're not letting people back on again.
I feel like the heartbeat of that place is the market. They wouldn't lock it down. I think that's where most of the schemes run through.
Yeah, I hope so.
I think accessing the market's always going to be easy enough. I'd say anything else other than the market is going to get progressively more difficult every time we screw it up. So let's try and screw it up 0 times.
Okay. So if we're happy with that kind of broad strokes plan, then I think we're going to cut to, I think we're going to spend like 2 hours, I would guess, traveling to Lustrum Tower. And it's drizzle, which means you get 1 wet per hour. So that means that you'll be add 2 to your wet score. When you first...
Will I have the chance to dry off between my previous trip and now?
Yes.
Okay, good.
You dry off at a rate of like 3 per hour, I think, if you're completely dry for the entire duration of that hour. So, yes. So, out of the mist, you see Lustrum Tower emerge into view. Do you have any... Are you approaching the tower in any particular way? Is your boat, looking any particular way? How have you concealed the various items that may not look like?
I have a tarp.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
So yeah. I would have suggested that we literally just bundle everything that we're not having in our packs in the tarp.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. Is there any other boat traffic, or is it completely quiet?
Roll brains.
Brains. Okay.
Like you can't immediately see it, but bear in mind there is quite a bit of fog.
Mm-hmm. Nope. I rolled a 92. I'm not rolling one so far.
Okay. You don't see any boat traffic for at least for a while. You don't see where they're pulling up. Maybe you're around the wrong side or something.
Okay, cool. I will just continue to head closer until someone else has another idea then, or I see something different.
Okay.
I'm not trying to hide at this point because we're selling.
One of you, let's say Hank, you see up in one of the higher floor windows, like the glint of something like maybe binoculars or something like that.
Binoculars or a scope or some. Yeah. I'll point that to the group and say, well, certainly keeping lookout. Sort of point. As subtly as possible, I guess, to the window where I saw the glint. Look, he's over
there. But otherwise, nobody like opens fire on you or does anything particularly weird. You seem to be being allowed to continue. You sort of scout round the perimeter of the building until you do start seeing some other boats. One is pulling into a dock. There are like all of the docks are incredibly ramshackle and like constructed out of PVC and bits of wood and and there are multiple of them. And it's somewhat crowded in terms of number of boats there. You gonna moor up?
Is there any indication of how people preserve the security of, like, I could imagine a place like this, like either like sometimes everyone just leaves someone on their boat, or if people are trying to attract people to a market here, there may be some benefit to the people who run the market providing some level of paid for security for the boats.
Yeah, if you're thinking about that, you might notice that there are men with guns who are sort of not patrolling the docks per se, but like nearby. And you just get some of them. They don't have like a proper uniform, but they have a certain look about them. Like they have a similar kind of markings to them that makes you think these are like security to... That's maybe some of the reason why trade is even possible here, is the fact that if you mess with the trade, they're there to enforce.
Yeah, if you mess with the trade, you end up floating face down in the water. Yeah.
It's not 100% guaranteed that is what's going on, but it does seem like people have left their goods relatively... their ships relatively unattended.
Do we see anyone that's not a guard carrying sort of a gun of any kind, or does it seem like they're pretty strict on only guards having weapons? Because I have a hunting rifle and I need to decide whether to leave it with the boat for now or bring it with us.
let's do a roll. Do you see anyone? It's not everyone has visible guns on them, very obviously.
So it's a D100, isn't it? Which I
Yep.
rolled a 96.
96.
So I see
okay.
nothing.
You cannot tell. You can tell that there aren't like people with rocket launchers. You know, there's not like massive weapons going around. But there might be, you know, you don't see a huge number of people, so like it's hard to tell. And maybe there are definitely some people with guns, and there are some people who look like guards.
I suppose it's not like the guards have necessarily got a whole uniform on.
Yeah, it's not a uniform. It's more like a They look a certain way, but it's a bit ramshackle.
Isaac is going to assume that if we get out the thing carrying hunting rifles and they don't want us to do that they'll say. So he's just going to help.
He'll be slung on his back anyway. It's not like he's going to be going in commando style. It's
he's just going to tie the boat up and has already packed his stuff, and he's going to start getting out of the ramshackle key.
Yep. I will make sure the boat's secure and all that for a wee while first. Go
on. Are all of you going as one unit, or are you like splitting up? Are you taking similar approaches? Like Isaac is clearly walking kind of sort of headstrongly into the crowd.
I mean, he will wait for the boat to be tied up. He's not going to like leave people behind. He would rather walk in as a group.
A unit.
I would like to case the joint kind of preliminarily. I want to know, like, are the clientele moving around kind of as smaller kind of groups? Are they kind of, do I notice, like, do they have retainers or guards with them, like the people who are going from inside and around this market?
It seems like most people are walking around on their own. You do notice that there are a couple of like people who look like they have a bit of equipment seem to be going around in pairs. Like maybe those are the richer people. And you know, but it's not very common to be able to hire a bodyguard, but it is somewhat common to be able to like persuade friends to help you out if you have more stuff. So it tends to be that like if a person looks like they don't have very much stuff, they might be on their own. If they have a lot of things, if they're doing a lot of selling, they might have a person on hand.
Yeah, resources breed cooperation.
Yeah. So are you progressing into the market?
If Xiao is happy with the way the boat is tied up, Isaac will happily start walking towards the market,
I will probably only be reluctant to follow at the point where we can't see the boat at all anymore. I'm definitely glancing back as we walk away.
Yeah. You can also keep coming back if you like.
I think I'm just going to kind of try and keep it in view until we like go in a building, and then I might just hang around outside. Just because I'm not less paranoid about what's in the boat, more paranoid someone will steal the boat. Because boats.
I mean, you're in one solid building, but yes, the lots of the walls have kind of been knocked out, so it does feel like
somewhere where there's a wall in the way.
Yeah.
Like this floor is like almost like an open marketplace where dividing walls and stuff have been knocked away. Yeah,
absolutely. And there are definitely some like repair jobs that seem like they are not super structurally supported. So this seems to go up sort of 15 floors or so. This whole like area, and you can see like the windows aren't, you know, fully boarded up as they are above, and so you can see into them a bit. The marketplace has lots of things. Some people selling fish, you know, waterproof gear, you know, water purification. Some people just are like there with lots of bullets, and it looks like maybe they're doing some sort of trade, like they're some sort of maybe a bank of some description, or they're there to facilitate easier trade, perhaps. And yeah, there are some people who are selling medical supplies. What is your general approach? Like, are you trying to head out of the market, or are you trying to investigate the market some more?
Isaac has a plan. But
Yeah, I'm definitely looking at the wares, but I'm really only fake looking at the wares. I'm kind of looking at how are other people entering and leaving the building proper, like the place beyond the market.
Okay. Can you roll brains, please?
I can try. That's a fail. 42 needed 30 something.
Okay. You're not noticing any huge patterns in the way that people are acting, although perhaps you will have noticed at least that you're not immediately getting like accosted by security, and there don't seem to, unless they're very well unless they're very well sort of hidden away, you don't think that there are that many of them down here. So yeah, the security in general doesn't seem that high, but you don't notice anything in particular. Isaac, did you have a plan? Were you thinking of something?
Once when he sees kind of like Fredo kind of like looking around, he's going to wait for him to kind of return to the group, and then lean in and say, if we walk around together with no obvious sign of resources to trade, we're going to look suspicious. I can set up a little stall here, start looking at people's bruises and scrapes. Fredo could go off, the career scavenger, start looking around. Maybe one of us who's a bit friendlier, he kind of glances at Hank, stays here, talks to the people who will queue, gets information out of them. There will be a queue. Bullets we get, we can look for more gear.
Good idea, Isaac. I like it.
Sounds like a plan. I'll hang around between, keep an eye on everyone just in case anything happens. Keep an eye on these guards as well, I say quietly.
Okay. So for that, I think you can, if all you're doing is like setting up a space where you can pretend or can actually help people, I don't think that necessarily needs a roll. I think that's, you can just do that if you can just find a spot.
Actually, before he does that,
Mhm.
can he wander up to one of the more obvious looking guards and ask if there's a charge for doing that?
Oh,
Because he doesn't want to draw undue attention from getting fucking hauled off because he hasn't paid the tariff.
The guard sort of like smirks and says 2 bullets to me now.
Can I make a... I don't know. What do you... Like, Isaac wants to... I want 2 rolls, but no matter what, I'm making both of them, even if basically, I want to figure out if he's bullshitting me.
Yeah.
But then, whether he is or not, Isaac is going to basically stand and stare at him.
Okay.
In his slightly intimidating manner.
So, roll brain for the first one, I think. And nerves for the second one, I think.
Yeah, I was thinking either lungs or nerves. But,
yeah.
Okay. What did I say that we need to do?
Oh, yes.
Because I just rolled 100 or 0, depending on... it's typically 100, but like...
We weren't likely to get that at all for a while, but apparently we've got to answer that question now, Matt.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll have a look at the tables, because basically
the tables have 100s on.
Okay, so that can be 100.
Yeah.
In which case, don't have zeros.
Unsurprisingly, I can't tell if he's bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it would be nerves. If you're trying, you're trying to intimidate him? Is this the kind of?
I mean, intimidate might be a strong word. I'm trying to like
Look physically imposing, because that would probably
I
be
mean,
lungs.
he is tall and gaunt, but it's more, I think, Isaac's manner
Make him uncomfortable.
that's make him kind of uncomfortable. Like
Love it.
Isaac's got a pretty not unusual necessarily appearance with the rain slicker and stuff, but he's definitely he can be a bit unnerving and intimidating to like just stand there and stare at something.
Yeah.
I feel like Zhao knows you well enough to have seen this before and is standing out of the guard's view, but perhaps slightly in your view, just smirking quietly
Sure.
at this engagement.
I'm happy with nerves. I think you're probably right that it's nerves. Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, it's whatever you feel like rolling, to be honest, because like it's not brawn, endurance, physical power, or how long you can go before running out of steam. But it's also sort of not reflexes, reaction time, fine manual control, sensitivity to sudden changes.
Yeah, no, I think it could be sort of taken to be either or neither of them. I'll be a good boy. I've only got 3 points more in lungs, so I think it fits nerves more. So I'll roll nerves.
So we're rolling how much nerves you have.
Yeah, and I rolled 13, which is well under my nerves of 43.
Watch yourself. And he sort of skulks off, but does not demand. Like, he doesn't really know what to say.
Sure. I'm going to assume he was full of shit then. So I'm going to turn around, go to a place. Like, I'm going to try and pick a spot, like where there's plenty of room around, because I figure people might seriously queue up here.
Yeah.
And I would also like, if I can, a spot where me and Hank and Zhao, if she's here, can see the boat.
Yeah,
just in case.
Okay. Yeah, I think you can find a spot like that.
As you're setting up, I'll just be like, "Damn, I've got to learn to do that. It's so useful." And then I'll and while you're doing this, Fredo's going to be scouting around. Is this the sort of casing the joint a bit more?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to ask, how long do you guys want to spend doing this in terms of hours? Like, this might be a protracted thing.
Yeah, I think Isaac is thinking that he can't just set up a stall for like 10 minutes and go, here for 10 minutes only. You know, like, this is the kind of thing that could... What time of day is it?
I think you set off relatively early in the day. So at the moment it's like maybe 11 or something. I think so.
I think Isaac's thinking at least like 4 hours, you know?
Okay. So you're having
to a certain extent. I suppose it depends what we find as well. Like,
yeah.
But you're willing to sort of, okay.
Yeah, I'm willing to take the time on this. I mean, even if literally nothing comes of it for our thing, he'll probably make some bullets.
Yep.
No
and
loss.
Also maybe some friends.
Hank might make some friends.
Yeah, Hank might make some friends. Okay. So, Fredo, can you, how are you approaching, like, scouting around? What do you...
So I'm definitely kind of working on a half-hour kind of resolution here.
Okay.
Do I try some petty crime? I've been thinking with this. Do I try and swipe some stuff? I suppose we don't really want to draw too much attention yet, but let me think. I'm definitely going to be doing a lot of circuits and trying to test the boundaries of where the market stops and where it stops being stalls and starts being people's.
Okay.
Well, start drawing attention.
Did you say there's 15 floors of this place, right? So even doing one circuit might be more than half an hour.
It's quite a big area. So are you going to do that? Is that your kind of...
Yeah, definitely taking that much time to just really go over the place properly.
Okay.
And find where the kind of do not pass signs are. And I want to emphasize, like, down as well as up. Do I notice is there any infrastructure leading below the waterline? Is there any evidence that people have gone down? As well as, is there any kind of thus far and no further signs at the top of the...
Okay, zone? Let's split this up into two. So first, do you want to go down or up? Do you want to mainly look down or mainly look up?
I'll go up because I want to get some distance between everyone else. So I'll do the up first.
Okay. You seem to be able to move fairly freely throughout the whole market area. there are people sort of milling around, seeming relatively relaxed, although a few of them are having like furtive looks towards the kind of guards and looking a bit worried. You note that there are some stairs that are definite, like have a guard at them, as like every time you go past them. There are. It seems like once you're starting to get into the area that lets you into the higher regions of the tower, the corporate offices. There are guards around there. Could you roll? I guess brains again to determine if you get anything else.
I'm not very good at brain. No, that's a fail. 62 for 47.
Okay.
I'd also like to. I'd like to.
Well, sorry. Should you have added plus 20 to that though?
Oh, of course, because I'm casing the joint.
Yeah, you are casing the joint.
It was 62, so it's 40, 50, 67. I did pass.
Oh, in that case, well done, Matt. In that case, you see that like nearly all of the entrances, all of the entrances to stairwells are blocked up, but there is what looks like an unguarded elevator shaft. The doors are like mostly closed, but you can see there's like a crack. Like you can see through a crack that it. I mean, it doesn't look like there's an elevator there, but that might be a path up or down, possibly. And yeah, it seems to be relatively far away from other guards, although you do, as you think that, notice a guard passing by, so it's not
Still
this area is patrolled.
So another observation I want to take while I'm doing this kind of route is there any kind of gradient, a class gradient on what's being sold? Like, does it seem that there's more expensive and cool stuff at the top near where the gangs are, or at the bottom near where the punters are?
It definitely, yes. That absolutely seems to be the case. Like at the top, it seems to be that there's, at the top in general, there is a little bit more security. You actually even notice there's like, you see what is probably a person paying somebody off to, to ensure compliance or like to have protection. And you get the impression that the lower down is less regulated, it's more chaotic. That is the overall impression.
And in my mental map, given that I don't know exactly on what floor I found this elevator shaft, but can I kind of, in my mental map, trace where it is in lower floors and kind of just, as I'm making my way back down, perhaps just kind of find the shaft and see if I can verify its state and how well guarded it is lower down? And
yeah, sure. You notice it on floor. Let me just double check. You notice it on floor 34, and it does not appear to be on floor 33, but it does appear to be the marks of it appear to be on floor 35. So it appears to go at least one up, and then 35 is where you can't seem to get higher than that without passing guards. Oh, you are muted, Chris.
Yeah, so I'm going to carry on downhill then. Just fervently typing this up.
Okay, fair enough. We can also cut away to the others to see how they're doing.
Yeah.
There is yes, as you predicted, a reasonable queue of people is starting to arrive, and actually, you're noticing like people like whispering to each other and going like pointing you out. Seemingly, like word of mouth seems to be spreading since you started.
Yeah. I think just to set this up, Isaac will literally have just found anything like a desk, a table, like a small podium or anything And he literally has a rag he uses for this, which is just like this dirty grey rag that at some point in the past has had like a red cross painted on it, and he will just put that down, find something heavy to put on it so it's dangling off the edge, and just stand.
Hank, are you doing anything to try and make this a more appealing prospect?
I think if there's a crowd coming, Hank will be trying to get them into an orderly queue line.
Okay.
Try and talk to them, and also make sure your gun is showing.
Yeah, I think he's probably maybe just holding his gun, not in a threatening manner, but it's there sort of cradled in his arms.
Heavy.
Yeah, friendly security is definitely Isaac's slot he's decided to put you in.
And you say heavy, I imagine he's smaller than Isaac as well, but
he's got a gun.
He's got a gun, so which
does change
lot.
how it feels a little bit.
Yeah, and he's so he's corralling them sort of into a line and sort of just generally talking to people in the line, asking them, sort of what brings them to the market, or what brings them specifically also to Isaac. Not that he's going to relay any of the medical information back to Isaac, because he'll probably get it wrong, and Isaac's just going to ask it anyway. Not going to necessarily trust Hank's memory on that.
I think some of them are a bit taken aback by the fact that like the security is like being so chatty and friendly with them, but like I think it does crack away a little bit at the overall hostility, and it does seem like more people are coming.
Yeah, I think he realizes Isaac doesn't have very much bedside manner, so it's got to be made up for elsewhere. So I mean, I did have some general questions that he's probably not asking one person too many of.
Okay, you're not trying to be too suspicious, but you're trying to sort of feel things out. What do you?
Yeah. So I mean, did we see the helicopter as we came in? That's to you, not to.
You did not see the helicopter. It was too foggy, probably, to get a good look. But also, there's like walls that seem to be.
I'll scratch
including
questions out.
Did we? You may have already said this because I didn't. But do we know how many floors there are in total? Because from my calculations here, we're on around floor 20, right, at the dock.
You are on floor. Yes, you're on floor 21 at the dock.
Right.
And you probably, if you'd looked around at all, which I guess you would have, like it's actually like labeled in some places.
Yeah, there'll be like things like
like signs says floor 21. And you knew beforehand that above the water is 50.
Right.
So you think that below the water is probably 20.
Sorry, above there's 70 floors to this place.
Yes, it's a really big skyscraper.
Big skyscraper.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what sort of questions were you going to ask, Hank?
Sort of what brings people to the market, that sort of general thing. Sort of we're posing as traveling medic or
traders,
trading medical knowledge. So what's worth knowing in the area, who's worth knowing in the area, or sort of anywhere is worth knowing in the area, as well as sort of what's the deal with who runs this place. We've not really had much dealings with anyone higher up other than a guard.
Yeah.
That sort of general background.
Okay, so just in general, I think you pick up, if you're doing this over multiple people, I think you pick up that while there is definitely a hierarchy, like you don't specifically hear anyone talking about Rosaria, but you hear mention of somebody called like Mr. Moore or Bill, who seems to also be pretty high up in the hierarchy, and he seems to be the person who is he's maybe like an accountant, but people still seem to people don't seem to be scared of him. He seems to be like a clever person. Rosaria seems to be the person who's in charge, but much more scary. they're not like the fire hose gang. Don't seem to be super tightly run. There seem to be one person you speak to is like talking to you about how he's mates with one of the gang members, and they're actually all right. You know, they're not all assholes. You know, you'll get used to it as newcomers. You know, are you coming back regularly? Is that a thing?
Well, if trade's good, then yeah, we go where the bullets are, as long as they're not firing at us.
It might be interesting to establish for that response how good the trade is. Like, Isaac will have an old, emptied out food can, and will literally he's got a very practical approach to selling his services, right? When there's this many people, quantity beats quality.
Okay.
So he will be taking a bullet from everyone for examination and prognosis. If other things need doing, like if anyone has something that needs bleeding or something like that, that's going to cost them more. But generally speaking, yeah. He's also got a liter. He's got a liter of clean water in a bottle by his side, and if he does need to use it, he will use it.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, someone comes up who seems to be a fellow merchant, and they sort of approach and they go, "Hey, I noticed you were you just set up here. I sell medical equipment. Perhaps we could join forces, do some sort of a deal to both of our mutual benefits. I see that you're a competent individual. Would that be amenable to you?"
Isaac will stand there a moment, sort of staring at him and taking the measure of him, long enough to let the next person in the queue drop a bullet into the can. Come back to me when I've finished.
Okay.
I'll see what you've got.
Come and check me out on the 34th floor if you need to have more in-depth conversation.
He'll nod and then just turn away to whoever he's examining.
Okay. Zhao, while all of this is happening, what are you doing?
I think I might have perused the stalls for a bit. I think probably less of a trying to directly talk to someone and more just hit to the ground listening in a little bit. But I could also see that I might have got a bit bored around the stalls. Probably checked on my boat a few times. I think maybe more to my kind of what I'm used to. I go around the docks and I hang around on the dock front, and maybe I try and grok who might seem like they're a regular here, someone who's arriving in a boat where they know where they're landing, they've got a normal spot to land. Maybe they're like scavengers from this area and they're dropping in with wares. Maybe I'll try and hang around close to them, and this might be pushing it too much, but just wait for the moment when someone's about to drop something awkwardly heavy or something like that and just step in to catch it and help out.
Oh,
and that's
so you're looking for like an opportunity to help out.
Yeah, basically.
Are you going to in any way try to engineer a situation in which you need to help out, or are you just going to see if one happens to fall into your lap?
I'm not sure I want to put myself in much of a risk. I suppose if there's an immediate obvious moment, but probably just wait. I'd rather just hang around otherwise.
Okay, so patience is
playing cautiously. We got time. I know we got time.
Okay. I think you can. I think that's reasonable. That somebody might need help with something, or somebody might be struggling with some.
I could almost be selling my services as just a labor on the docks sort of thing, but it's more of a just quick help.
Okay, you sort of look around a bunch. You see that there are definitely some payoffs going to the guards. You note that people who are like regulars seem to attract a lot of guard attention, and possibly to the detriment of their attention elsewhere. So for what it's worth, busy times seem to be also maybe good times.
Okay.
You see somebody struggling with a large like, in fact, a set of canisters. They've got like these, air canisters.
Yep, I will go and lift the other side of it and just give a nod to them and go, "Where are you going?"
Oh, thanks. I'm going up to floor 33.
Yeah, let me help. I'm new around here. I'm looking for ways in to make friends.
Oh, this is certainly a way to make friends. He sort of looks you up and down. And do you have any visible weapons on you?
No, nothing visible on me.
Okay. I think he'll be happy to have somebody help him lug these bloody great canisters up.
It's worth highlighting. There's loads of guards here as well, right? Because they're right next to the docks, and they're of interest. So I figured I probably wasn't too threatening in this moment.
Yeah. One of the guards sort of looks at you a little bit weird.
Yeah. I'll just shrug. I won't react otherwise. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He like takes out a small notepad and just writes something down and puts it away. You follow this guy?
Yeah, I'll go all the way up. I'm not actively, other than kind of introducing myself and saying I'm new. I'm probably not actively saying, and much else. So kind of waiting for him to offer anything, if he does, where he's come from, sort of thing.
I'm Anthony. I came from. I've been traveling this way for some time now. Business has been good. Are you a trader too? Are you?
Yeah, part fisherman, just looking for good trade. We've been struggling lately.
Oh,
fishermen. Friends here too.
Well, some of my clients, he sort of lifts up the thing. There's been some big fish that we've seen. If you catch my drift, there's treasures to be found below the earth, below the sea. Untold numbers of things. It's just out there. You can just get it. You just have to be able to breathe. That's why the key insight to any enterprise is go where the demand takes you.
You're saying scavenge beneath the waves then?
Well, not me. I sell to the people who have the hopes that they can scavenge beneath the waves. I sell hope. That's what I sell.
Dangerous business, that though.
Most profitable business. So what's your name? Sorry, I didn't catch that.
I will... I'll just say another name. I'll come up with a different name. That's apparently my brain is now blanking entirely. I'll say Samantha.
Samantha. That's a nice name. Well, this is me.
Yeah, I will help drop off. And then I guess I'll probably just say, this is a friendly sort of place. Anything I should look out for if I'm staying here a little while?
Friendly, yeah.
Oof. Well, yeah, it's friendly anyway. You know what I mean. I'm not going to be jumped in the night or anything.
Not if you pay to stay at the higher floors.
Gotcha. Okay. That's why you're up
here. Probably
then.
Don't want to stay down at the lower floors. Sometimes things get a little rowdy.
Good to know.
Do you stay with this guy or?
Well, we're not sure yet. We'll see what happens.
Well, yeah. People get a bit jumpy, and especially these days. I might,
These days.
Take care. Yeah, well, for some reason, there's been a lot of scavenger activity, bringing trouble to this place. It's terrible. You should see what they do to them. The ones they can just turn away that's fine. They seem to go. And it's the ones that get deeper. They really try and make an example of them.
I'll make a note not to do any scavenging. I say playing completely dumb.
Okay. Anyway,
Yeah, I guess
it should be
I'll. Yeah.
just if you see anything, make sure to report it to my friend. My friend Christopher over there. He may look like a maniac, but he's actually a very thorough, solid individual, and he points to somebody who is holding a crossbow.
Is that a guard or is that just some guy?
Yeah, on inspection does look like a guard.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Is it the guard? Yeah. Is it the guard I intimidated?
No, I don't think the guard you intimidated was holding a crossbow.
This is higher up, isn't it? It's probably a higher tier of guard up here.
Can we talk, by the way, about how you looked at Chris, said, "Yeah, it's Christopher," and pointed at Chris?
Yeah, that was perfect.
Is this the twist?
That Chris is the guard.
Yeah.
The real guard.
Casing has gone real well.
I'm not paid enough for this.
Yeah, I'll head back down then if that's all from him.
So I'm happy for you guys to just sort of take this and sort of continue with this. Is there anything in particular that you want to investigate further, or do you have any?
I still want to get a scope on what the kind of surface level is. Like, is there any evidence of kind of infrastructure
where the water is,
like moist infrastructure?
Yes. So below, when you get to the floor 21, it's not like the whole skyscraper is on a little bit of a lean. So there are parts of floor 20 that are that are not fully, it's not fully perfectly submerged. It was kind of a step up to get onto floor 21. And yes, it does appear like there are parts of floor 20 that you could get access to. It's kind of, there's lots of papers floating around in the water. It looks like it was maybe a government office or something. Some of the rooms on the lower floor, there's not really any guard presence protecting entry into the below layers, and as you occasionally sort of venture into those areas, some of the rooms are kind of half flooded but not completely, so there is some air in them. Just going to you guys have been here a couple of hours, right?
Yeah, I'm under.
Okay. Don't mind me. Okay. What floor are you on? You're on 20, right?
Yeah, well, I'm certainly on 20 level.
Okay. Okay. At about this time, you notice that there's some people shouting off in the market. What do you do?
Does anyone else seem to be reacting?
There seems to be an escalating commotion. Seems to involve maybe 4 or so people who are shouting. Or actually now more than that.
Who I'm assuming Hank is still where I am. How about Zhao?
I think I'm probably close by. Maybe I'll just come back down from that conversation so I can see you.
Okay. Isaac, who's probably give me some kind of thing I'm looking at, Pierre.
So what you're looking at is 4 people who are dressed casually.
No, sorry, I meant who am I attending to?
Oh, who are you attending to?
Yeah. I'm not going over there. I'm working. Okay.
Sorry. You're attending to a woman who is kind of fairly diminutive, maybe middle age. She's saying that there's something she can't see very well, and there's something wrong with her eyes.
Okay. That's probably something I can do limited amounts to help with, but I'll look at her eyes anyway as much as I can. As I'm doing this, I kind of glance up over to Zhao as you So walking back, and I want to stress this is not Matt being a prick. This is Isaac being a prick. He's just kind of look at you and make eye contact, and then like over whatever commotion is happening. But Isaac, as far as like his part in this plan is to keep seeing people.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like this is the reason we're here. Speaking of which, not to be mercenary about it, you want to give me some kind of like? Do you want me to like make a roll at how well I'm doing, or are we just going to assume that I can look at people's ailments and like roll?
Yeah, like I think you can. I think you can roll. Roll like maybe roll once with the EMT advantage and once without it.
Okay.
Basically, because some of these people have problems that
I cannot deal with,
that you can't deal with, and that are like more broadly medically, this lady probably can't be dealt with. Would normally be dealt with by a proper doctor.
Yeah. Sure. What am I rolling against out of interest? Because I can see brain or nerves being.
I think it's probably brains.
Yeah. Okay. So my brain, my EMT roll is a failure at 70.
Okay.
And my other one is is definitely a failure at 99.
We're rolling so bad.
Wow.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I think you do make some money. It's not like it's.
I mean,
it's not
it's a bullet
would
per
undoubtedly make some
examination, regardless of the
lie.
outcome, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
regardless of how well I do, but like if people walk away not feeling particularly like I've attended to them, then
the crowd's
I'll make less money, right?
Yeah.
I think you're not making an exceptional amount, and it may be to do with your bedside manner a little bit. You might actually be giving some good advice, but sometimes like people are like, "Oh, sure, whatever. I'll just take my bullet and
take my
I'm
bullet.
off."
I'm going now, yeah.
And sometimes some of the people are just coming up to you with, like, as I say, problems that you can't really do anything about.
Yeah, right. Because I imagine that this is the thing. As an EMT, I'm imagining that like in a situation like this, people are coming to me with doctor problems.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas I'm like, if it's someone saying like, "Oh, I'm hurt in this way. Is this bad?" Like the guy who came, like Jacob at the beginning. Yeah, I can handle that. But like, my eyesight's getting blurry.
Yeah, there are definitely some people you treat. Some of the people come to you with things that you could treat, but you don't have the equipment for.
Right. But I could tell them what it is, and then they can try and find it, or
useful.
someone who has it,
or
whatever. Should I make some kind of roll for given my lack of success? Like, is there anything you want me to roll?
How many people do you reasonably think you could see in an hour or 2 hours?
Well, I mean, like it's kind of like a doctor service, right? So in 2 hours, I think I could see 12 people.
Yeah,
but like,
go for it.
Just take that much.
Yeah, let's take 12. You can take 12 bullets.
Okay.
I think it's reasonable to suggest that you can.
Sure. I'll do that. And I'll with that amazing bedside manner of mine, I am going to suggest to Zhao that she goes over.
I roll my eyes, but do go check it out. I was planning on doing it anyway. It's my decision.
Yeah. So Zhao, in what is totally her own decision, walks over, and you can see that there are 4 plainclothed people who are sort of shouting, and there is and they're like there's a guard who's sort of shoving one of them back. Like the closer you get, you hear them like "scavenger scum," and like there's one of them is a really big guy, like one of the scavengers is just massive, and that may have been what attracted attention. You're surprised he can maintain the size, like sort of how muscular and large this man is.
Collapsed in on himself by now.
Yeah, no. Given the caloric difficulties, and he's sort of not taking very much of this shit, and the guard is like like calling to others, and like is soon joined by 3 others, and there's just a great commotion sort of going off. What do you do?
Does it look like guns are about to be drawn?
The guard, like one of the guards just has a machete. Another guard has some sort of rifle, and the third guard has like a pistol of some description. So they're not pointing the guns at anyone yet. The scavengers, you can't see them obviously have like anything. They don't look obviously armed, but they are being like shoved.
Got it. Okay. First important question: are they anywhere near our boat?
They are on the same dock as your boat.
That means I was just going to lead them to it, but that makes me more inclined to not leave because I don't want our boat to be damaged.
Some of the crowd are now joining in and sort of shouting at some of them are shouting at the guards to like put the guns away, and some of them are shouting at the scavengers to.
I think I'll risk it and hope that the boat will be all right, and walk back without drawing attention to myself to Isaac and Hank and just say, now might be the time to move if we're going to do something. There's a distraction. Presumably Isaac doesn't have a patient right in front of him.
Yeah, so you take a moment when it's a bit quieter. And you say this,
and then I'll say, any idea where Fredo is?
Happy to turn up at this most opportune moment.
Yep, that seems reasonable.
Having clocked the situation, I'll kind of turn up from my investigations into floor 20 and floor 19 and come over and say, okay, I've got a way up on floor 24. Now would be a good time to go.
Yep. Were you going to say something, Pierre?
Yeah, I was going to say if you went onto floor 20 and you were thoroughly investigating it, you would have got a bit wet.
Oh yeah.
Just because it's.
I'm not going to get super wet. I'm just going to. I wanted to just check out and see if up or down was better, but I think I've decided up is better.
You're not going swimming initially.
Yeah.
And Hank, what are you doing at this time?
Well, just with the group saying, yeah, I mean, if we're going to go for it.
It's at this point that you hear a gunshot.
From
what
that
do you do?
Crowd? Or
from the direction that Zhao just came from.
I'm assuming everyone starts reacting more decisively to the gunshot.
Like a gunshot and then some screams.
Okay.
Isaac is going to, in one relatively fluid motion, grab the can of bullets, tip it into his pack, throw the can to one side, sling the backpack on, and start. He's completely gonna follow Fredo's lead.
Yeah, that was my plan. I maybe to have one sighing look at the boat, which is presumably still safe. It's like, please still be there.
Please
follow the lead, knowing I can't take it with me.
He's gonna grab his
rag thing.
Yeah, as John pointed out in the comments, his Geneva Convention contravening.
Okay, and you're heading for the floor 34, right?
Wherever Fredo leads.
Yeah.
You muted.
You muted,
mute,
but...
Chris.
Yeah, spotted it. So I'm kind of assuming that most of the traffic, I assume the guards are going to be kind of more interested in getting involved in that and are probably heading down.
Yeah, as you start heading, you're noticing that there are like 3 or 4 guards kind of heading past you to the sign of the commotion.
Yeah. So once I'm in maybe, I don't know, a slightly more crowded area where there are no guards, I'll just kind of maybe slow down a little bit and kind of huddle up and just kind of, well, not so much huddle up, but as we're walking, just kind of have a slightly more nuanced discussion about what's going to happen next.
And also, as we're on the way,
Hmm.
I don't know, in your vision of this place, Pierre,
Hmm.
how common are stalls selling guns?
Oh, I think not super common. There, like maybe on the higher floors, you might have some luck. There are definitely some stalls that sell like hand weapons, like knives, things like that, axes. In terms of guns, actually, let's roll for it. Let's roll for like whether you can spot any on the way.
Now, having said that, Pierre, I just worked something out because I was like, ooh, I could technically, according to the costs in the book, I could afford a pistol or a revolver. And then I realized if I buy a pistol or a revolver, I am left with one bullet. And while that might be useful, that might be useful if the gang's about to catch me. I don't think he's going to sink. Isaac's going to sink all his bullets into a more painless death.
A gun isn't just for shooting; it could be if you want to wave it around and hope nobody calls you bluff. But
I think on thinking about it for a moment, he will leave it. Actually,
the economy in this world is set up really badly for people who don't have good forward planning, isn't it?
Yep. So as you sort of gather, the commotion doesn't seem to be dying down. You do hear a second shot.
You muted, Chris.
From behind us and beneath us, I hope.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll just.
But the commotion does seem to be like quieter from where you are.
Yeah. So on floor 24, there is a elevator shaft. I say we get ourselves in there. We go up a floor or two. We make an anchor point, and I'll see how high I can get.
Okay.
Sounds good. Let's not get caught. Yeah. I've heard of what they do to scavengers. What they might be doing to them downstairs now.
Okay, so I'm assuming you're basically trying to move as quickly as possible towards floor 24, or are you trying to remain stealthy?
I think as we go higher up, I'll be getting more and more stealthy and less kind of, because I think in the earlier floors we can get caught up in the panic and the distraction.
Yeah.
But as we get further up, that panic and distraction is going to drop off, and we don't want to seem like we're rushing.
I was going to say, because nearby, lots of people will be trying to get away from the gunshots. But like Chris said, the further you get away, the less people will be like, why are they desperately trying to get away from something 10 floors below them?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So I think I'd like some sort of roll for how effective like you guys are at not drawing the attention, admittedly, of very distracted guards. Not every single guard in the complex is rushing down to the sound of 2 bullets, but some are. So
I'm going to take the lead here, and I think I'll make this roll because it's absolutely in my bank robber wheelhouse.
Yeah.
100% in joint casing. So what do we think this is going to be? I think there might be an argument for nerves. What do you feel?
Brain or nerves?
I'm
happy for brain or nerves, and that'll determine how you do it.
Yeah, okay. I'll go nerves then, because this feels like I'm more kind of working on instinct than thought.
Oh wow, that's
great.
Plus 20.
Yeah, that is a great success. It was a 24.
You just showed us your phone.
My
screen.
phone.
Look, it's great.
Okay, so and that was a nerves thing. So basically, you see that there are because you've cased this joint, you've seen that there are certain like patterns of the ways that guards move, and you're like waiting for the right time and just trusting that your timings were right. And you're like, okay, so after this person passes this point, I have 15 seconds to make that gap. And yeah, you're hoping that everyone else can keep up with you. So the guard passes the point, 15 seconds go by. Can I have everyone else make like a lungs roll maybe? Because you have to like, oh, there's a cat. This is great.
There is a cat.
No benefit for labour as my generic. Hey, I made it.
Yeah, 14, which is definitely
13.
under.
All the fucking fringe rolls tonight. I just got a 1.
Okay, wow.
But
So
is it 3 wet dry per hour?
Yeah, you were in the dry, weren't you? Because you stayed
Yeah.
put.
Yeah, I was inside.
so
I've
success.
got no wet. So success, yeah.
And you didn't go exploring, so yeah, I don't think you're wet.
But today I have rolled a 1, a 100, and a 99.
It's incredibly likely, Matt. You know, that's definitely like a normal combination of dice rolls.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you all manage to make it, and you don't get the impression that you were very quick, and you get to the elevator shaft, the door, I guess. What are you doing?
So I'm going to just. Is it going to open if I kind of give it an old?
You can give it a pry. Do you have any
Yeah.
tools or anything that can be used?
I do, but I want to kind of do it manually first to see if there's resistance, and if there's a
Okay.
great deal of resistance.
There's quite a bit of resistance, yeah.
Okay, I have an ice axe. And
Okay.
I'm going to the bottom of the door, and I'm using the ice axe as a lever, basically, to pry it open.
Nice.
I mean, I have
Okay.
a wrench. I don't know if it's worth.
Yeah, you can
Whoever's
help as well. I
with
think
that,
if you both if you both combine forces, can I get a lungs roll from both of you?
Oh, I know I should have made lungs my dump stat.
I got to imagine that Fredo's will be with the +20 again as well for jimmying something open.
You made it anyway. So.
Yeah,
I made it
I
anyway.
did make it.
I also think Hank is not, because you're a repair person.
Yeah,
right?
repair
Well,
guy.
that's true. Custodian, yeah.
Custodian
which-
could.
I said, yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah,
still a
definitely.
failure with a +20,
Sure.
not 64, but. it's
So you
trying.
kind of slip when you're both kind of pulling it, and it is coming, but it sort of is very slow, and then it suddenly goes, and Fredo is kind of braced in a way that is fine, but Hank kind of stumbles and falls over, and the wrench sort of clatters on the ground quite loudly. You're on floor 34, so let me just see what happens. 6 is okay. Yeah, so you open the door, and you see that as the door finally comes open, you can see into the elevator shaft. You can just about sort of squeeze through, and you hear the sounds of fighting coming from up the elevator shaft. And I think on that we will call it there. So thank you for this very first session.
Hey,
of
cliffhanger.
It's not
Yeah.
deserted.
More like a shaft hanger.
Oh, I'm
A
not
worse
going to-
sentence
awful.
God.
could be
Awful.
said,
Yeah.
but has not been.
Sounds like my ex-wife.
It's literally the worst portmanteau imaginable. Steve's done a better one, which I will bring up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. Do we have any things in the chat? Any questions? Any comments? We can do a bit of promo. Matt, you are much better at the promo. So
Sure.
could you possibly
I
do
will.
that?
I will absolutely do the promo as this boy occupies as much space as possible on my person. So if you check below the video, there's a bunch of links. There's links to YouTube and to Twitch. You can find us on both of those sites. Twitch is obviously where we stream live. You'll know that if you're watching us now. And YouTube is where you can find all of our archived video. There's also links to our Patreon, our Discord, and our social media. If you're interested in any of those things, give them a shot. At the moment, we're running, I guess, technically 3 weekly series. Vason is on Mondays, Big Wet, that's this, is on Thursdays, and Simbroom is on Wednesdays, but is on hold until August. we're also going to have Cincinnati Chronicles return for its finale in August as well. And we run one-shots multiple times a month. There was going to be Hell Night this coming weekend, but it's been pushed back to August as well. And also in August, we should see the return of Johnny's Space Thulu stories for a third installment of his space-based Call of Cthulhu Lovecraftian horror. So yeah, there we go. That was the promo. That's all the stuff. As I bring up this very appropriate message from Dungeoneering VTT. Cat, huge cat. He's very big. I have had, by my count, I think 6 vets tell me he's the biggest cat they've ever seen. So, yeah. He's
bigger than lions.
Bigger than lions.
In documentaries and everything. Just biggest cat I've ever seen anywhere.
Yeah. He's not like... I don't think I've encountered a bigger cat. I've definitely seen them on, filmed on whatever. But he's very long and he's very chunky. So, yes. And heavy. There we go. But yeah, we've got some more comments here. Let's run through them from the beginning. Some good advice from Steve here. You don't want to look up or you'll get apocalypse rain in your eyes.
Oh, God.
Yep.
That's probably the problem that lady had.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense.
When it was raining.
Yeah,
Don't look up. Just never look up.
The old radioactive eyes. Which turns out doesn't give you X-ray vision. Probably just makes them dissolve.
Or it does, but it's very blurry X-ray vision.
Yeah, sure. One from John. One of the main plot points in Snakes on a Plane was that a guy was able to land a plane because he played GTA. So flying a helicopter because a flight simulator is like extra legit.
God.
I mean, there's definitely worse things you could do, right? Like you got to imagine that playing flight simulator of a particular, but it would have to be the specific model of a thing would be better than, for example, just reading the flight manual.
Oh yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And certainly not playing GTA. I don't think GTA has realistic helicopter physics.
No, it's definitely it has no realistic physics whatsoever.
Frankly, I think that Snakes on a Plane movie was a poor documentary.
I think as the amount of cinema sins in Snakes on a Plane, unrealistic. Agreed. Yeah.
Why did none of us take the history gamer specialty from Microsoft Flight Sim in the career section?
Yeah. Exactly. Look, you guys don't need to worry about whether you can fly a helicopter. You'll not make it there.
Look, if like 14 years or whatever on Twitter has taught me anything, it's that gamers can do anything. They wouldn't lie about that. So there we go. Another one from Steve. Sounds like someone got their dice wet. I think that's what he said when I rolled 100. I think that was when I rolled 100. So yeah. Don't Cook Food says this setting is cool. Yes, it is.
I see you got your words mixed up there. The setting is wet.
Yes, the setting is damp.
Wet.
Cold
is the new cool.
Wet. Yeah. Wet is the new cool. Put that on a t-shirt, please. Another one from John pointing out, contravening the Geneva Convention for money. I like Isaac already. We have I said shaft hanger, which we agreed was the worst thing ever said. Steve was so much better with clift hanger.
Oh, that's like round of applause worthy. Yeah, much better.
Very good.
But will anyone get that outside Western Europe?
I think they know
Americans.
Is a way of saying it.
Do they though? Do Americans ever call it a lift?
I don't.
Instead of an elevator, we should say instead of an elevator. Otherwise, they'll be like, "Call what a lift."
But we have the advantage that media is British sometimes, so people know it, I suppose.
Yeah. Well,
British sometimes.
There we go. Don't Cook Food. No, we don't.
Don't Cook Food just showing up with a no. Fuck you.
We can drive a truck through it with some really laboured elevator pitch based pun.
Lift pitch doesn't have the same thing.
Yeah.
We've also had some follow. I don't know how many of these were picked up by Johnny on Monday. We've had some extra follows on Twitch. I definitely know that you'd mentioned Viking Gandalf because I remember I remember that one being said. But the Crystal Bridge and Tunuki thank you for the follows. We appreciate it.
So yes,
Here we go.
I think with that, we are officially done with our first Big Wet stream.
Lovely.
So
Fun.
goodbye.
Goodbye. See you next week. Bye.
Don't go out in the rain.